So as you know, we're here today to do our archive project, and we want to know more about you and your role, as well as the impact Catholic Charities has on our greater communities. So to start, where did you grow up, and how long have you lived in Winston-Salem?
I grew up in Iowa. I'm a farm girl from southwest Iowa, and I've lived in Winston-Salem for almost 29 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how long have you been at Catholic Charities?
I started working here about 2 months after we moved to Winston-Salem. So I've been here, it will be 29 years in July.
Wow. How did your education and past jobs lead you to working at Catholic Charities, and what was your major in college?
My major in college was social work. I went to the University of Iowa, and my first job out of college was at a residential group home in Omaha, Nebraska, called St. James Children's Home. It was a home licensed for 6 children between the ages of 6 and 12. And I worked there for a year. I was the manager of the group home while I was there.
Okay.
Then they reorganized. So I left there and I started working at the Iowa Department of Human Services, and I was there for 9 years. While I was there, I did child protective services, foster parent recruitment training and licensing, and supervised foster care placements. And then I did adoptions, working with children who were placed for adoption, doing home studies on adoptive families, supervising placements, that sort of thing. And then we moved to North Carolina, and I started applying for jobs and ended up at Catholic Charities.
How do you think you ended up here? Did you just come across it, or?
Yeah, there was an ad back then. Employment ads were in the newspaper. So I saw the ad in the newspaper, in the Winston-Salem Journal, and I applied for the position. It was a position for a pregnancy support services worker. So the first 20 years, I guess, that I worked with the agency, I did pregnancy support services, working with teens and adult women who were pregnant and trying to decide whether they wanted to parent or place their child for adoption. And depending on what they decided, then I helped them through that process. Eventually, I started doing home studies for adoptive families as well. And so I do the home studies, approve the family, make the placement, supervise the placement. Did all of that for about 20 years. And then I went back to school, went to UNC Chapel Hill and got my...
Ooh, go Heels!
Where I received my master's in social work degree. And then I was named program director, still doing some of the pregnancy support services and adoptions, but then I was named program director over our teen parent support program. Eventually, after a year and a half or so, the agency added the youth in crisis program that I was also responsible for, and I was named, assistant office director. Then the office director that was here was reassigned to the central region of the diocese, so I was named interim office director, and then eventually the regional office director.
That's amazing.
So what does your average day look like? Your average day-to-day schedule, what does it look like?
There is no average day, actually. Things come up every day. So I'm going to a lot of meetings with staff, meetings with collaborating agencies in the community, writing grants, answering emails. I mean, it varies.
Different.
Yeah, it varies a lot.
That keeps it interesting.
It does keep it interesting. Yes, it does. I now have, as of about 6 months ago, we hired a program director, so she's responsible for the direct supervision of some of the programs now, which is very helpful because my time really needs to be focused more on grant writing, fundraising, parish engagement, that sort of thing.
Very cool. So what services do you offer?
In this office is one of the regional offices of the agency. We have regional offices in Charlotte, Asheville, and here. The central region, which stretches kind of from Boone, Lenoir, all the way down to Hickory, down to Gastonia, we will be hiring a couple of part-time people in that region and have a couple of small offices there. That's a region of the diocese that hasn't had a lot of services for forever, basically. So this is one of the regional offices. The services that we provide here, adoptions and pregnancy support services. The worker in that program actually works out of the Charlotte office, but she covers the whole diocese.
Oh, wow.
We have our teen and young parent support program, which focuses on teens who have a child. The goal is to keep them in school, so they graduate from high school, encourage them to go on to college, and we focus time on parenting education and healthy child development. That program is funded currently by a grant from Forsyth County United Way. So services are pretty much restricted to clients from Forsyth County. Stay the Course is a collaboration with Forsyth Technical Community College, providing mostly case management services to students to help them overcome the challenges that might prevent them from staying in school. The persistence rate in community college is very low. Students might go a semester and then take a semester off and then go back and then take a year off, and sometimes it takes 4 or 5 years for someone to complete a community college degree. So our goal is to keep them in college so that they will finish in a shorter period of time. That funding is also from Forsyth County United Way, their Place Matters initiative. So services are focused on basically 13 neighborhoods, kind of in the northeast part of Winston-Salem, that are all in the 27105 zip code.
Okay.
And we have a staff person who has an office on campus at the Maisie Woodruff Center of Forsyth Tech to work with students. We have Youth in Crisis, which is a program funded through a federal grant to serve runaway and homeless youth. That program is for runaway and homeless youth or youth at imminent risk of running away or becoming homeless. And that covers 4 counties, Forsyth, Stokes, Davie, and Davidson counties.
Okay.
We have a food pantry. That is changing. For many years, the food pantry's been open on Thursday mornings, and we serve about 80 households. Starting in May, we're changing that model. We will be open half days, about 3 hours a day, 5 days a week by appointment.
Okay.
People up to now, individuals who come for the food pantry start showing up at 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning to get in line, and we want to eliminate that. So
Yeah.
they make an appointment, they come for their appointment, they're not waiting forever to get their food. And we're going to be providing more case management services, because chances are food is not the primary issue. There's something else going on, and we want to be able to help families address the other things that are going on in their life. We provide counseling services to adults, individuals and couples. We have the We Care Shop, which is the infant clothing closet that's open 2 half days a week. We give out baby clothes and diapers, newborn through size about 3 toddler. And individuals, it's free. Individuals can come 4 times a year, once a season, to get clothing for their baby if they need it. We do TIE, which is a translation and interpretation enterprise. It's a social enterprise. The goal is eventually that it will make enough money that the money will then benefit the agency. not quite there yet, but they're working on it. So they train individuals who are fully bilingual in English and some other language. They go through an intensive training, they're certified as an interpreter, and then we have contracts with different businesses and organizations to provide interpreters as they need it. We also have telephone interpreting if that's necessary. So that program is growing, but we're not quite at the point where it's actually making us money.
Who
Yeah.
donates the baby clothes in the like the little closet that you guys have?
Anyone who has children who have outgrown their clothes. Sometimes we have parishes who do like a baby shower, so we might get some new things sometimes.
Because I'm a part of a little community service group, and next weekend we have our baby shower. So I was wondering if like maybe that contributed to some places similar
possibly, yeah.
around.
Yeah,
That's
maybe,
great.
yeah. Let's see, have I forgotten anything? We have a community garden since we moved to this location. So we have neighbors and participants and volunteers who are helping with that, and we've started planting some things for this year already. And we have the little free libraries, one outside on the side street here and one in our multi-purpose room, that we keep stocked with books because we want to get books in the hands of children in particular, but even neighbors that would be interested in books, that they can get the books
Yeah.
and read them.
Well, y'all are amazing. Y'all do it all.
We do a lot of things.
That is
yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what services do you find have the most impact on the community? What do you think?
I think case management services, which is really what almost all of these programs, the model is case management services, have the biggest impact when you're really looking at the person holistically. You know, a 360-degree look at what the situation is and what are their needs and what services can we provide, or what resources are there in the community that they might not know about that they could access, that would make a difference for them. Helping people move out of poverty, helping people improve their situation takes time. That's not a quick fix usually. So just being there and giving the support and encouragement that's needed, and letting people know that they have worth. You know,
Yeah,
treating
yeah.
people with respect and dignity is very, very important.
Absolutely. Well, what is your favorite part of all of this, of your job, would you say?
What's your most favorite, and then like if you have a difficult, what do you think is like the most difficult part? Like maybe like seeing how like sad it could be, or like the feeling of helping.
Someone, yeah.
Yeah, I think the most rewarding is when people thank us for how we treat them. You know, thank us for caring, for understanding, for being here when they need us. I think the most difficult, we're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
We can't do what we do without money, and because we're working with people, most of the funds that we raise goes to staff, salaries and benefits. So I think fund development, fundraising, writing the grants, making sure that we have the money, the revenue to support what we want to do, can be challenging at times.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
There's a few more questions. So what is Catholic Charities' future plans, or how would you like to expand your services, or how are you going to in the future?
Well, changing our food pantry model is a big, big, big deal, and we've spent probably close to a year deciding what we wanted to do, how we want to do it, making sure all our volunteers are on board with that. There will be some adjustments. There will be some growing pains, and we know that it might not run real smoothly for a little while until we have everything in place. But that's a big one. We don't want to be just a come in, give somebody bags of food, and out they go, and they come back the next month and the month after that.
And that's with every location?
Yes, this
Cool.
is across the diocese. The other thing that's happening here locally is we have a small office in Greensboro. We have had for 10, 12 years. It's been a counseling office. We're expanding our services in Guilford County. We're hiring a full-time case management coordinator that will be housed in Greensboro. So we want to provide more services in Guilford County than we've been able to up to now. We provided the services, but from here, we want somebody there, housed in Greensboro. So that's coming up.